Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description.
Hey guys, so I've been doing a lot of random research and kind of falling into rabbit holes about different aspects of theology and just kind of digging around. I've always been a student of spirituality and anything I can get my hands on, which is why I own every holy book, and I look at the perspectives and interviews of different people from a lot of different faiths, and I've actually been watching some interviews with some Catholic priests, and it's been kind of eye-opening because they've talked about stuff that I had never heard that perspective of before, particularly on what we would consider spirits, what they would consider angels and demons and things like that. And this could apply particularly for, people that work with the Goetia or the, any aspect of demonolatry, or, even if you're working with, any spirits really. If you're working with magic through more of a psychological or an energetic model, this may not entirely apply to you, but I still think that as, energetic archetypes and stuff, this kind of content could help you to, more understand or in a deeper way about the nature of spirits. So if you think about it, we live in our world that is 4 dimensions. I know everyone's saying that we're moving from 3D into 4D if you listen to all those hippies. Pardon me opening a soda for a second. Right? But we have height, length, and width. That's 3 dimensions. Those are the physical ones. And then time. Time is the 4th dimension, which is tied in with the physical dimensions. Otherwise, nothing would change. It would stay the same. So, according to some of the interviews that I've been watching, the idea is that spirits, or angels and demons in particular, because demons are just fallen angels, are outside of space and time. That they don't have physical bodies like we do. They are not confined to the limits of physicality, So, if I wanted to travel to Paris, of course, what would I have to do? I'd have to get on a plane to go there. Why? Because I'm constrained by the physical nature of this reality. I can only be in one place at one time. And therefore, I'm in my basement right now, and that's what's the information here is what's available to me because I can see it, I can sense it, I can feel it, I can look, I can smell what the basement smells like, all that kind of stuff. I don't have knowledge of some place where I am not because I am confined by my physicality. Now, spirits, on the other hand, because they are not confined by physicality, then arguably they are within all places at the same time as far as the physical reality goes. Their reality is arguably bigger or higher than ours, and our physicality is lower than theirs is, which is why the existence in which they are, or the plane on which they exist, the spiritual plane, I guess you could say. Some people might even say the angelic plane or whatever. It over encompasses the physical plane, which is why they have knowledge of all places and all things at all times. So they could be working with or communicating with somebody where I am, but also at the same time working with and understanding and seeing what happens all the way over in Australia somewhere, doing whatever, right? So when it comes to working with spirits, the idea is that can we work with them anywhere? Yes, because since they are not tied to the physical, then they are above it in a different plane that we can tap into, but we don't necessarily have to worry about, where is this spirit? Should I face a certain direction or whatever? That's more correspondences and whatnot. You're invoking spirits of fire. You want to face depending on your tradition, of course, face the south, spirits of waters the west, spirits of airs in the east. Of course, depending on your culture and stuff, those kinds of directional things could change. But the idea is that spirits are not like your friend that lives the next state over, where in order to go see them, you got to travel to their house, right? Spirits are all encompassing in their presence because they are not tied to this physical plane. Now, one of the other things when it comes to this idea is, and I don't know, like, let me know in the comments if you've heard about this kind of concept or you've worked with these kinds of spirits. But, all right, so if we were talking angelic or demonic spirits, then they are said to be outside of space and time, and therefore they are everywhere and at all times, right? But a lot of traditions have spirits of particular places, so, and this can kind of tie in with animism, if you like to use that term, where, like, every rock has a spirit, a river has a spirit, yada yada yada. But in the Kara tradition that I've been working with for several years, and my lady is been doing it longer than me, but we've kind of dove very, very deep into it. And so that's something that I could share on if you are interested in me doing more videos and talks on it. They kind of work with the idea that in the more of an animism sense, whereas some people would believe that, like, if they work with angels and demons and other spirits, that spirits are all encompassing and they can be anywhere at any time. But with some other wisdom traditions, like the Kara tradition of the Andes in South America, the idea is that spirits are of particular places. So the nature preserve that I live on, it has a particular spirit there. A river has a particular spirit. A mountain has a particular spirit. Or even a valley or a grassland, what they call nustas or apus. They have different spirits, and so in order to communicate with them, you go to that particular place and you can make offerings and whatnot. However, they also do agree that you can connect with a particular spirit of a particular place by praying specifically to it. They just tie that particular spirit to a particular place. Like, certain angels and demons, right? They are not, the angel of the mountain or the demon of this particular cave or something. So, like, Archangel Michael is not tied to a particular place physically on Earth, right? But you can have, trying to think of the names of, I know that there's like one mountain in the Andes, Pitu Surai. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but that is a particularly strong mountain, and they go to that mountain and make offerings and work with it, but you can pray to it. Once you've made that kind of connection, you can, if you're not anywhere near it, you can pray to it, because all of the land spirits can communicate with each other, and they can relay messages for you. But this kind of contrast between some traditions having spirits tied to particular places or aspects of of the natural world versus the over-encompassing nature of other spirits is very fascinating. Along with the idea that you can work with these particular spirits in different ways. When you're working with spirits of nature, for example, that actually requires you to go out into nature and work with them there. It's like if you're going to go hang out with a particular friend, you got to go and actually hang out with them. Of course, nowadays we have Zoom and just texting and FaceTime and whatever, but that's not what I'm talking about, actually spending time with someone. You actually have to go out into nature, and you can commune with them, and you can meditate, you can pray, you can make offerings, and then you can listen and be receptive to that particular spirit, and they can teach you different things about maybe about their particular vibration that they're at, or what that particular piece of land or natural geographic feature can teach you. You know, sometimes, I like the very first place that I learned how to meditate was at a dam / waterfall, and so I learned a lot of peace there. So I think that that's what that particular spirit of that place at least taught me. Maybe it teaches other people other things, but that's the message that I got from that one particular place. And periodically I still do go back there. My backyard has a huge pond on it, and I've learned quite a bit about appreciating nature back there. Now, I could work with any particular spirit in my altar, in my man cave, with trying to gain access to those same kinds of ideas and those same kinds of things. But I think that working with nature spirits one-on-one is very interesting, because it's almost like you have to make a pilgrimage over to where they are, and you got to, sit and listen and be in that receptive state and make some offerings, and then it could be a very, very personal experience. Other, people that follow wisdom traditions that I've listened to and, been in classes with and stuff like that, they'll even tell you that a particular place will tell you, will give you a name that they want to be called. And the name that they give me could be completely different than the name that they give you. And it's kind of symbolic of a special relationship that you can build with that particular spirit of that particular area. And therefore, they could see what's going on with you, or what your energy's like and what your goals are like, and stuff like that. And then teach you something, and teach me, and give you advice on one thing and give me advice on something completely different. Of course, that could be the same thing with any regular spirit that you could summon in a, in your altar with a triangle of art and whatnot. But if you haven't worked with any spirits of particular places, I really think that it's something worth looking into and getting to know the different spirits or energies or characteristics of the natural places around you. You might live in a city, and therefore you might only have a park, but there's definitely going to be a spirit there. You might live at the base of a mountain, or near a land preserve, kind of like what I do, or even a river. Go and sit and make some kind of offering and see what that particular place has to communicate with you. See what kind of message that they could give you. So, because working with spirits, what isn't just about, and all of magic isn't just about what you do at your altar when you have a particular goal in mind. It's more of a lifestyle than a hobby, if you want me to put it that way. And I think that the more that we apply magic in this way of it being something that we take more action on, and we make it more of a daily thing, like I'm always striving to do, then the more benefits you're going to get out of it, because the deeper you're going to be in that magical current. Okay, so this has been quite the little rant, I guess you could say. Let me know what you think about this one down in the comments, and if you have, what kinds of spirits do you have more of an affinity with? Would you say the spirits of particular places or things, or just in general spirits that cannot be tied to particular places or things? I'd love to have a discussion down in the comments. Until next time, guys, good hunting.